Yo, what's up? It's me, Domuto. We're back with another video. No, it's not. What if Goku was sent to Yardrat Part 3 by SmugStick? That is what we are reacting to today. This story is fire. I can't wait to see the next part, man. I forgot what the last part was. Well, the last part, they fought the Saiyans, and so he might have to fight Frieza now. So, we'll see, and let's get into it. Let's see.
Kakarot, known as Shira in Yardrat, continues to train, having defeated the Saiyan invaders, with two of them, Nappa and Vegeta, escaping. Shira watches over his long-lost brother, Raditz, as he heals. Shira's mission is set: take down Frieza from every planet he comes across. But Raditz begins to understand his brother, wondering if he really can defeat Frieza. Goku's plan to leave Yardrat and liberate planets was set into motion, and he was ready to take the next step of his training. Under Pibara and Soba's wise instructions, he had built a small house for himself up in the mountains near the cave where he trained with his master. The place was surrounded by tall pine trees and the snow-capped peaks of the mountain range that encircled it. The sun had just risen, and the sky was filled with an intense orange glow. Goku had woken up shortly after, and he was already outside, performing a series of unusual stretches, ones he had learned from Pibara and Soba, and that were even strange to the Yardrans. Those exercises were preparing his body and spirit for the hardest a Yardran move, the Forced Spirit Vision. Raditz was standing at the entrance of the house, observing the scene. He had been under Goku's supervision ever since he tried to take over Yardrat, and he had to leave as soon as he was fully healed. The Yardrats were cautious about healing him immediately. Plus, Goku thought he could change him for the better. He wanted to learn more about where he came from, and the Saiyans. Maybe even change Raditz's path along the way. Soba saw their relationship, but warned Goku that one day, perhaps, he would fail to save someone. There are some out there who cannot be forgiven. This downtime gave Raditz time to be alone with himself, realizing that this planet was full of strange creatures, including hundreds of interesting bugs. He'd never admitted to anyone, but he'd liked bugs since he was a little kid. Pibara and Soba had been guiding Goku through every step of the process. But the spirit vision technique was far too powerful for him. If done incorrectly, it would not only leave him open to attacks, but take a huge toll in his own power. The Force Spirit Vision was best used against enemies whose power did not belong to them properly. With it, you could potentially undo fusions and absorptions. Pibara wanted him to stay longer until he mastered it, but Goku's yearning for adventure told him otherwise. He'd figure it out through his own ventures. Raditz knew that he had to leave soon, but at that moment he felt like he wanted to stay. As Goku completed the unusual stretching exercises, he had seen him practice many times before, and each time he felt a strange admiration for him. He had, after all, defeated 3 Ozaru. He hated to admit it, but his little brother was impressive. Pibara and Soba stood close by, ready to guide Goku through every step. Raditz felt something stir inside of him. He realized that here on Yardrat, he didn't have to answer to anyone else. No Tyrant Frieza, or any other powerful figure from his past life.
Right.
Sure, he was being watched over, but nobody told him what to do. Suddenly, an idea struck him. If only he had one move from this planet, one move that would allow him to escape his old life and make his own home. The instant transmission. If he could only learn that technique, then he would be able to leave the palace and the Frieza Force behind entirely. That night, reluctantly, he explained to Goku just that. He wanted to learn the instant transmission. Goku, known as Shira in this universe, wasn't sure at first, but he could sense within Raditz a genuine yearning for more. Not anger, not conquering, but a wanting to be his own man. Goku agreed, under the condition that they could talk more about the Saiyans. The following months, Goku would teach it in secret to Raditz, but he was never really good at it. It seems at times he'd get it, but it never quite hit the mark. Goku and Raditz stood facing each other in the courtyard, ready to start a new sparring session. Raditz was tense and nervous. He had never fought someone like Goku before, and wasn't sure how to proceed. Sensing this, Goku started with basic kicks and punches. He could tell that Raditz wanted to learn, wanted to get to his level, but he needed guidance. As they both moved in perfect harmony, Goku began to teach him the basics of Soba-style combat. Raditz became more and more open to talking to Goku and learning from him. He was still far from mastering the technique, but he was making progress. Raditz had a huge issue with Ki in particular, sensing it, being one with it, etc. He had seen Goku meditate and tried to do the same, but what he saw during those meditations often scared him. Frieza, Vegeta, and more. He was often under someone else. During breaks and sessions, Goku would tell him stories about his adventures, such as encounters with powerful warriors like Soba and Nail. Raditz found himself awkwardly fascinated by these stories, wanting to learn more about such powerful fighters and how they could operate in such a dangerous universe. He never thought about the people he conquered, about the champions of each planet. To them, they were just simple creatures they would step over in the name of Frieza. Could Kakarot really do it? Could he rid the universe of the Emperor? Part of him wanted to believe it, but it was too fantastical of a thought. Eventually, it became clear that Goku had to leave on his mission. Raditz felt a deep longing for an adventure with him. It was something he hadn't felt since he was very young. So much so that he had almost forgotten about learning the instant transmission technique. Goku asked if he wanted to come along, hoping that the change he had stirred up within him was real. But an intense fear washed over the long-haired Saiyan. He could picture Frieza's piercing eyes and the thunderous sound of the death beam.
Come on, bruh.
He will leave on his own path, but for now, he couldn't go anywhere else. Goku was disappointed, but he felt that within Raditz there was more than he showed. To the older Saiyan's surprise, Goku shook his hand. He knew they'd meet again. Goku departed on his mission, leaving Raditz torn between his desire for adventure and his fear of the unknown. He watched Goku fly into space, feeling inspired, though knowing that he couldn't join him on this endeavor. Raditz lingered in place, contemplating. Despite his reservations, there was something inside him that made him feel like he wanted to go, a deep longing for freedom that had been dormant until arriving on Yardrat. Then he felt a hand on his shoulder, Soba, as if to tell him it was time to leave. Raditz turned to look at Soba and Yaki. He wasn't sure what to say and just nodded. It seemed like there was a mutual understanding that he would not return to harm them. It seemed like they knew something had changed. He boarded his pod and set off towards planet Frieza, uncertain of what awaited him there, but determined to find out. Meanwhile, Goku traveled across space, liberating planets from Frieza's control. Everywhere he went, people rejoiced at their newfound freedom and thanked him for shedding light on what had been a dark era of oppression under the tyrant's rule. He also encountered many powerful warriors, some of which became allies, while others became foes, all teaching him valuable lessons along the way. Eventually reaching planet Namek again, this time much stronger than when he had left it before. Guru greeted him warmly and offered a warning. Dark forces may be on their way that could threaten not only Namek itself, but all of existence if they are not stopped soon enough. I have that feeling too, but don't worry, I'm gonna take care of it, I promise. And
but your Earth all peaceful and shit?
Fight. There's just some things I have to take care of first. How are the crops growing, by the way?
Come back and check up on them yourself. They'll be waiting. Even though we don't need to eat, us Namekians make a mean feast. We'll see you soon, my friend.
Goku waved his old friends goodbye as he continued on his quest. A particular planet he ended up on wasn't under Frieza's control. It was a dark planet named Zune. Some people there were nice, but there was a champion who was a complete jerk named Pui Pui. Goku and him faced off, as Goku wanted to set in stone that there were other paths beyond death and destruction, and honor in fighting, something Pui Pui didn't have. This is a Pui Pui prior to the Majin power-up, so Goku manages to defeat him through his multiplication technique. As Pui Pui laid on the floor defeated, he spat on the ground, telling Goku that he had earned this kill. However, Goku didn't want to kill Pui Pui. Like I said, all life in the universe is important. You may be a jerk, but I don't want to kill you. You were fun to fight. It would be such a waste. I want to do it again. Pui Pui looks at Goku's hands stretched out. This really was a peculiar warrior, a warrior he'd like to face again in the future. Goku spent time there longer than expected, but just like with Raditz before him, he did see a change forging within Pui Pui. Unaware of the concept of foreign species being introduced to a new area, Goku took a seed given to him by the Namekians and planted it on planet Zune. The planet was too desolated, and he thought it looked nice. He bid farewell to Pui Pui, as Pui Pui promised to take care of the tree. He went through several planets, each one with stronger foes than before, but none of them served as a huge threat. On one such planet, a set of enemies approached Goku as he saved them from an evil scientist who had been experimenting on them at Frieza's command. Led by a soldier named Kui, they surrounded the hero as he mocked Goku for being a weakling Saiyan like Vegeta. Goku was actually excited to hear that name, asking Kui how Vegeta was doing nowadays. Kui didn't appreciate it, not that it mattered, as he and his men were quickly disposed of by Goku. He ensured that Kui and his goons were kicked out of the planet to never return. And tell your overlord one thing, his reign is over. I'm coming for him. Kui was terrified as he ordered his handful of troops to speed off towards the stars. There was even a planet inhabited by a bunch of small white beings with big heads, planet Tek Tek. There he
Where
found
Tarble
many
at?
unexpected sights. For one, he found a Saiyan named Tarble.
There we go.
Tarble was
There we
extremely
go.
apprehensive about him being there, but soon came to realize that he was just a guy looking to save a planet, not another Frieza lackey. There were two rotund aliens in that world whom Goku battled, until they finally fused into a single powerful being. He was a huge issue. According to Tarble, he was as strong as Frieza, only knowing his first form. Goku ended up quite beat up during this, trying to use Force Spirit Fission to unfuse the two, but didn't work quite well. This forced Tarble to step in and do what he could to defend him as the locals healed Goku. Goku admired Tarble's bravery. He was severely underpowered, but even so, he protected his people and his new friend. Unknown to Goku, Tarble himself was inspired by Goku's bravery. A Saiyan standing up to the Frieza Force? Unheard of. This was just one of the many times Goku inspired hope in the galaxy. Once healed, Goku appeared before the beaten up Tarble, while Akka cackled. Did he really think he could win? Sure enough, Goku defeated Akka. Goku promised him that if they return, he'd be back to help. By the way, I didn't think more Saiyans were around. You kinda look like that Vegeta guy, but a lot nicer. See you around. Before Tarble could reveal just who he was, Goku was gone.
Hey kids,
Alright.
don't go away. We'll be right back.
Hello.
And now back to our show.
Meanwhile, on planet Frieza, Raditz had reintegrated into the Frieza Force. Surprisingly, he was welcomed with open arms. He expected to get a beating after losing, but according to Nappa and Vegeta, Frieza had something else in mind. The tales they showed the Emperor only confirmed something he already had planned. Yardrat was filled with incredible beings. The secrets the planet held were valuable. If a single low-class Saiyan could rise above the prince, then surely there was more for him to learn from that world. Teleportation, multiplication, size manipulation. If his army had that power, then not only would the universe be his, but perhaps every universe. Why could a god of
Nappa some
destruction
snitch ass
do
niggas,
to
right?
that? It was being wasted in those Yardrat fools. Raditz realized that no one else had been sent on a mission in a while. Some of the overlords from different planets had returned to the base. Could it be? And then that kid attacked me out of nowhere. No morning coffee or nothing. He even turned giant at one point and crushed half my pots. Wait, what kid? What's the matter to you? I didn't stop to ask for his name, but he's the same punk who's been going around taking out our men. He could even teleport. So, he's been taking us off of planets? Yeah, at least 70 of our planets have been driven into chaos because he removed the general management. I doubt it'll last. Frieza already has plans to get back at him. Kakarot, you really are doing this? What was that? Are you going to finish your carrots? Raditz felt a cold sweat down his spine. What was Frieza's plan? How would he defeat Kakarot? Where would he even find him? If only he could warn Kakarot. Get ready, ladies. We're going back. Back? To planet Yardrat. All of us. The entire Frieza Force.
Damn.
Payback time.
He should have told Kakarot that he was wrong. Of course, Frieza wouldn't stand still as planets were being taken down. Now, all those people were going to die. Raditz caught himself thinking this. He didn't really care about the Yardrans. Why was he even thinking about that? To him, it was just another job. The Frieza Force was organized on a single goal. For the first time in many years, whatever planets were still under their control remained occupied, guarded by said soldiers. But every other capable body was sent to Yardrat. As Raditz's pod sped behind the mothership, besides Nappa and Vegeta, he couldn't help but wonder what had become of Kakarot. He turned to look outside, seeing a neighboring planet to planet Frieza, Planet Meat. Long ago, that planet had been taken over by a set of Saiyans and the population enslaved. That was the fate that awaited Yardrat. Now, he would never learn instant transmission. He would never escape this life. He would never see the tall pine trees, the snow-capped mountains, and the tranquil bugs anymore. He would never see Kakarot again. As if he had just woken up from a nightmare, Raditz sat up, his eyes wide. In an instant, he pressed a few commands, his pod drifting towards Planet Meat. This was his final straw. Nappa and Vegeta noticed this, with Vegeta telling Nappa to ignore that loser, until he realized something else. Raditz was being followed. A small ship, birthed from the mothership, sped behind Raditz's to Planet Meat. In reality, Frieza had been keeping a close eye on the Saiyans. He suspected them ever since losing to another low-class Saiyan. Vegeta, though he didn't care about Raditz, did care about what this could mean to him. He commanded Nappa to follow. Thus, the three Saiyans and a mysterious Frieza ship landed on planet Meat. Raditz sat by his pod, focusing as hard as he could. He had to try to find Kakarot. Ki was something he was struggling to understand, but he had to find him. The life essence Kakarot taught him. But his concentration was broken, a little fart slipping out as he heard a loud boom from the ship landing. Raditz quickly turns to find Zarbon and Dodoria, even a handful of soldiers staring him down.
So, a traitor's death is what you wished for, Raditz?
How did you? I had to make a pit stop. At that moment, two more pods landed. Nappa and Vegeta.
Raditz, you idiot. What's your angle?
Damn it, Vegeta. Aren't you getting tired of this? Tired of the senseless conquering for someone else who'd kill us in an instant? The only reason we're alive after failing on Yardrat is because he thinks we may have valuable information. An astute observation. Lord Frieza suspects the Saiyan's loyalty was wavering after losing on Yardrat. Tell us now, where's the boy? I don't know.
If Raditz landed here, then he mustn't be far, right? We'll blow up the entire planet if needed.
Heh. Not the first set of Saiyans I've killed on this planet, you know. That low-level crew, Bardock's, the whole squad died here. What? You little... Of course, that was right before
What you gonna do, Raditz?
Frieza destroyed the rest of them with a single finger. Too bad he missed a few. Vegeta, Nappa, and Raditz looked at one another. If they had heard this alone, then perhaps they wouldn't have cared. But they felt anger now. They never liked each other, especially Raditz and the other two, but they were still Saiyans, and the pride of their race had just been challenged. Now that they knew who destroyed their world, they had no excuse not to turn against the army. Even if they died, they would die fighting. Vegeta's aura burst open, rushing towards Zarbon, followed by Nappa and Raditz. The battle was intense, as Zarbon and Dodoria are completely caught off guard by how powerful the Saiyans are. Their battles on Yardrats not only meant a huge Zenkai boost, but, for Vegeta and Raditz, the ability to sense Ki. Vegeta got Zarbon in a full Nelson, just for a second, as he yelled out at Nappa to destroy his scouter. Nappa was surprised. That could have been a chance to do some damage, not recognizing how valuable their advantage was. Likewise, Dodoria's scouter was exploded by Raditz. The Saiyans gained ground slowly, with a double Sunday from Raditz killing Dodoria. He looked at his hands in shock. He didn't realize he'd grown so much. Meanwhile, on planet Yardrat, we see that the Yardrans had tried to talk Frieza back, but nothing would work. He lost his patience and allowed the Ginyu Force and his army to attack. Pibara did what he could to protect his family. Despite his clones being out there, he just couldn't keep them up. They were a peaceful race, not prepared for an invasion like this. Suddenly, as it seems Pibara would die because of Goldo's time stop and an incoming Recoome, a flash of light cut through Goldo's neck. Pibara turns back to look at the newly arrived Soba and Yaki, but he wasn't alone. He had an army of Yardrans from all over the planet.
How did you get them here?
Me. They were all inspired by Shira's bravery. If a Saiyan can defend our world, then so can we. The army begins their battle against the Frieza Force, with Soba, Yaki, Hatsuka, and Pibara focusing on the Ginyu Force. The battle was intense, with both sides losing a massive amount of members. Frieza, despite not wanting to be involved, began taking down fighters here and there with death beams. Pibara was hit by one of them and sent into a house. Though not killed, it severely weakened him. Soba turned back. Clearly, he would have to take him out first. Soba burst through Recoome, defeating him in a clean shot and landed a punch on Frieza's face. Frieza was incredibly surprised. That punch was strong enough to kill some of his best men. Perhaps he underestimated Yardrat. As Soba yelled at Frieza to get back up, the Emperor clicked on his scouter and couldn't believe as the numbers grew and the scouter exploded. Was this a mistake? Soba yelled out, giving Frieza one last time to disappear from this world and never return. But a death beam shot right towards Soba. He slapped it away, but it severely damaged his arm. He turned his head to see the Emperor of the Universe rise up from the rubble in a new form. He wasn't going to waste any more time. Frieza could tell. The two
Straight
of
to
them
final
could
is
compete in
crazy,
power.
Frieza.
He had to use his final form. The battleground
Soba
crackled
that
with
strong?
energy as the two formidable forces stood facing each other. On one side, the tyrannical and imposing final form Frieza emanated an aura of malevolent power, his sleek and icy demeanor reflecting the ruthless conqueror he was. On the other side, the enigmatic Yardrat, Master Soba, exuded an aura of tranquil power, yet overwhelming strength, his kaleidoscope aura shifting with each movement. As a side note, in Dragon Ball sagas, Soba is said to be even stronger than Frieza. In this story, I'm making them a little bit more equal, but Soba is still above him. Frieza's cold voice cut through the charged air.
You dare challenge me, Yardrat? Your kind is nothing more than a fleeting curiosity in the grand scheme of the universe. But this planet's secrets shall be mine.
In a sudden burst of speed, Frieza lunged forward, his fist wreathed with pulsating energy. Soba gracefully
Pulsating.
sidestepped, his form blurring as he dodged the attack effortlessly. In response, Soba extended his hand, his 6 fingers extending out like tendrils, wrapping around Frieza's limbs like ethereal restraints. Frieza's eyes narrowed, his lips curling into a snarl. With an explosion of energy, he shattered Soba's restraints, sending shockwaves rippling through the ground. Frieza retaliated with a barrage of energy blast that streaked towards Soba like deadly comets. Soba's body glowed with an iridescent light as he raised his arm up, intercepting the energy blast and dispersing them harmlessly into the atmosphere. Frieza's veins pulsed with power as he roared in frustration. He charged once more, unleashing a flurry of devastating strikes. Soba met each blow with a calm and calculated defense, his body flowing like water, absorbing the impact, putting up a facade that none of this hurt him. Their eyes met in a fiery gaze. In an electrifying instant, both Frieza and Soba propelled themselves backwards, creating a chasm between them.
But you'll see my army has some tricks up its sleeve.
Frieza quickly glanced to the side. This did not worry Soba. He just had to end him quickly. With those words hanging in the air, both warriors surged forward. Once again, their bodies cloaked in energy as they launched their final attack. The clash was cataclysmic, a blinding explosion of power that enveloped the battlefield. The shockwave echoed across the world, leaving the outcome uncertain as we move back to Planet Meat. The Battle of the Saiyans continued. Zarbon, seeing the 3 Saiyans he was facing, transformed and aimed to kill Raditz right away. The monster slashed and slammed Raditz, with Vegeta and Nappa actually trying to get the monster off of him. But Zarbon grabbed them by the face and slammed them against each other, rushing down Raditz
Damn,
again,
y'all get
hitting
killed.
him against his own pod. He was going to crush his neck right then and there. Raditz was blanking out. He was going to die if he didn't do something. He thought of his parents, of Vegeta, Nappa, Frieza, and Kakarot. With the last of his power, he closed his eyes and focused, placing 2 fingers on his forehead. Zarbon laughed, crushing his neck even more until Raditz's eyes shot open, a bright light in his mind, showing the warmth in a familiar key signature, Kakarot's. Just as Zarbon was going to kill him, Raditz disappeared. The confused Zarbon turned to see Nappa and Vegeta, palms full of ki, blasting him into smithereens. They too were confused about where Raditz ended up. They were honestly okay with killing him in that attack as well, but so be it. They weren't
Damn,
too hurt.
Vegeta.
He defeated them both with relative ease. Even so, they needed to patch themselves up before figuring out what to do. Raditz's eyes widened as he appeared right above a dumpster, crashing down on a bunch of trash. Surprised, a man came running out and pulled him out with one arm. To Raditz's relief, it was Kakarot. Kakarot, there's no time to explain. Frieza's Raditz, good to see you. Did you teleport here? So you've been practicing, huh? But why are you all hurt? Kakarot, listen to me. It's Frieza. He knows what you've been doing. He's gone to attack planet Yardrat while you're not there. If you don't get there fast, you'll... Damn it. Huh. Okay, so you guys were keeping me distracted, huh? That's why you attacked me while I was eating? Goku turned to face the set of Frieza Force soldiers he'd been fighting, led by Sorbet. Shizami gulped. Goku takes steps towards him, placing his fist firmly against his chest and quickly slamming it forward, causing a huge wave that knocks down every single soldier. He warned them to never return to that planet, but Goku's attitude couldn't entirely hide the worry he felt. He quickly turned to Raditz, telling him to hold on to him. They're going to planet Yardrat. Raditz couldn't even complain as he was grabbed, and they were teleported away. The sight was hard for Goku to swallow. Buildings burning, Yardrat's dead. Pibara was being beaten down as more and more of his clones were defeated. Yaki bit the leg of Birder just to get kicked away. Hatsuka tried healing some of the defeated Yardrans. Even some Cybermen from the forest were running in and sacrificing themselves to attack Frieza, but it seemed impossible. Goku balled up his fists tightly, a surge of rage boiling within him. He could feel all these lives being snuffed out, and it hurt him to his core. He swore to make Frieza pay for this. Raditz shook in fear at just sensing the Emperor's power. The only one standing up to Frieza was Goku's old master, Soba. This was a relief to Goku. Together, they could surely stop this monster. Shira quickly landed down by Soba, staring down at Frieza. "Sorry for being late, master. Let's take him down. Together." But Raditz noticed something close to the pair. A body barely moving, trying to crawl towards them. That familiar purple alien, Captain Ginyu. "Kakarot, wait!" Soba spun on his heel, striking Goku in the stomach and sending him flying into a house. The kick was unexpected as he tried to stand back up. Some blood dripped from his mouth. Soba posed in a ridiculous manner.
Haha! This body's incredible! Lord Frieza, to have this power at your service, surely nothing will stand in your way.
The moon began to rise on planet Yardrat as fire reflected off of Soba's scouter. The darkness they had brought to that peaceful planet was insurmountable, but Goku remained its sole protector, the ultimate master of planet Yardrat, versus a Saiyan raised as one. Goku faces his master. Next, what if Goku was sent to
It's already
Yardrat?
over, damn. Damn, I was really into that one. Damn, Smug, you need to stop writing too good, son. I was like, damn, I can't wait to see this fight. But now we gotta wait till part 4. God damn. Smug. God damn. Anyway, shout out to SmugStick for this video. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Check out the last chapter right here. Check out another what if story right here. And I'll catch y'all next time. Peace.